Welcome to the Picks from the Yard podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Salvatore. Just a humble caddy trying to scratch out winners every week for you guys, along with my friends, family, even acquaintances are welcome as long as they provide winners. Now that they've gone and legalized gambling here in Jersey, we're going to provide you with the hot selections every week.
Face, 9 of 10 times out of place. And I thank God I'm not like you.
Picks from the Yard, divisional round of the playoffs. First show of 2020. The Roaring 20s are back. We have the college championship finally after a couple-week hiatus. Big weekend of football, and Clegg's Corner is back. He had a good week last week. A lot going on. The games were great last weekend. I'd like to introduce my guests, my brother, Richard, the Math Whisperer, Salvatore.
It's great to be back. For this weekend, in my opinion, is the best weekend of football because you have, 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. The best teams are playing, and you got the championship college game on Monday night. So.
Yeah, in the past, I think it's been tied into the wild card round. So actually, even though we had to wait for it, it makes for a nice capper to there's going to be 3 days in a row of great football, hopefully. And returning, number one Vikings fan on top of the world, you like that, is William Bill Bon Vivant Lesko. You enjoy that game?
That was pretty good. I'm happy to be here. I'm happier that the Vikings were around for this round also.
It was amazing. I actually flipped. Well, we'll talk about that later, but I was shocked they won outright. I had a last-minute feeling they had a chance to cover, but it was something else.
That's when your heart helps when you bet, when you don't go with your head.
I mean, nobody gave him a chance.
Nobody gave him the only angle there's one angle in that game, and it was the angle Willie Lesko's not at the game.
Exactly.
So maybe the Vikings have a chance. But other than that, there was nothing.
I'm 2-2 in Minneapolis. 2-2.
Okay. All right. Just recent history hasn't been that
bad.
Bad. Yeah, we have a short-term memory here at Picks from the Yard. Whenever's working, we go with that. There was talk of sending you down there, but it would have been it was something else. Congrats, buddy.
I would have accepted.
As I touched on last week, we did all right. We went 4-4, not great. I had a loser on Philly. That game, I mean, they knocked, cheap shot artists Seattle knocked Wentz out of the game, and they brought in McCown, who hadn't played. What'd you say, Richard?
He'd never played in a playoff game in his career. He playoff debut at age 40.
40 years old. Go get him. The season's on the line, buddy. And he was a wee bit cautious,
skittish
at the end of the game.
That's
there.
A good word.
They managed to stay in it. Philly's D was actually played great. It was more exciting than it should have been, but it was a shame they knocked Wentz out. But oh well. Poor Dodgy. He'll get over it. The fans are, valiant effort. I had a winner on the Tennessee-New England under. That game was quite enjoyable for a lot of people south of Connecticut. Richard went 1-1. Alabama rolled. It was I think it was a little tight in the first quarter. Then it was just a rout. And then Buffalo. My God. I mean, these poor fans. That game was done at the half.
Yeah, that's one of those things, though. You watch those games, they dominate, and you only get the field goals. So it was almost like the Clemson-Ohio State game.
You got to put a point. You can't dilly-dally. I mean, and the whole game turned, and then the end got so ugly and messy, and Josh Allen lost his marbles there for a little while, and they still managed to get it to overtime, but it was a crazy. I was working, and everybody in the bar was just like, what? It was like one of the craziest games I've ever.
It was a fun game.
I was at a storytelling show. Adam Wade and our producer Will Clegg were telling stories, so probably a good thing. I was checking on my phone every once in a while. But if I was watching the game, I think I would have been very frustrated.
Watching your phone must have been because you must have been like, "What the heck is going on here?"
It looked like at halftime, and then even. I felt like deep into the third quarter, they still had a big lead, and then all of a sudden, it completely changed.
When they came out in the first half, at the second half, and went 3 and out, I thought it might be over.
And then the whole thing just. The Bills still had a good chance to cover. There were a number of 2-point conversions. We almost got on a good number there.
That's right, where it was on like a 2 or a 1 back and forth. But they had 2 2-point conversions, and late in the game, I saw it afterwards that blindside hit call, which seemed ridelicious. So there was so much. It was a tough loss. Yeah, you feel bad for them. They haven't won a title in that town, I think, since the 60s, pre-NFL. So when it was like the AFC or the AFL, and you got to feel bad for the fans.
Even though it was a great in-game betting game.
Oh yeah, there was money
yes,
to be
well,
made, and
that's,
somebody
Willie
sitting here
Lesko's
maybe got
forte. Yeah.
Houston at 10-1. Somebody's sitting across from me right now. It's a very wise play there. Jim Dodge 2-0. He called the under in the Seattle Philly game, and that was an easy one, especially when McCown came in. The game crawled to a halt, and that was a rocking chair, as they call it, easy winner. And then he called the demise of the Patriots correctly. Tennessee with an outright win, and my God, the cheer! It was as if the Giants won a playoff game. The bar went crazy when the Golden Boy threw that pick late. It was awesome to watch. Tennessee played a great game. And Vrabel got a Belichick on a little. He did a little. I wouldn't say out coaching, but he pulled a Belichick move on and Belichick was going bonkers on the sideline.
Yeah, it was like giving him a taste of his own medicine. Basically, did what
Stretching
Belichick
the
did
rules.
earlier in the year, and Belichick went nuts. So
Yeah.
that was so much fun to watch.
It was
lip
great.
reading.
And now we'll see what happens to the dynasty, perhaps over. And Adam Wade, 0-2. He was dropping his album. He had a lot going on, so I don't know. The BC was a rout, and then we all like New Orleans. So except maybe Willie, but that was quite a surprise there. So like I said, overall 4-4, not too bad. The parlay was a loser. Buffalo loser, Philly loser, Tennessee. I mean, although both those, it could have. Both of those games could have gone our way, so I'm not disheartened yet. We still got a couple weeks left to get our money back. So let's see if we can turn it around.
I don't fear anything, anyone, anymore. I'm a freak. Don't dress like you.
All right, a lot of coaching changes have happened since we were last on the air. The slowest process ever for firing a coach at Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what was going on. They're like, he's not going to be part of the team. There was exit interview. I just fired the guy. I guess like this most stretched out thing ever.
The Giants still had to ask for permission to interview him after they already hired McCarthy.
It was crazy. Yeah, they wouldn't officially.
His contract still goes to the 14th. I think he's still an employee.
Just end this already. It was like a never-ending saga.
They were waiting for the Christmas party.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt like they were stringing him along, right? And then they interviewed him again as if to say maybe they're going to have him back. Just be done with it.
Yeah, it was quite a process, but they ended up with McCarthy. Who we'll see. They always talk up going into it. He got a bad rap. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I guess, didn't like him, but when you see what he's accomplished, they're showing all that this week. I mean, it seems like a solid coach. I guess we're gonna find out but he also has to deal with an interesting situation.
Very interesting situation. Yeah.
Pressure packed.
Yeah.
Owner micromanaging every move. It's gonna be
instead of the prima donna quarterback, you got the prima donna owner.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's gonna make we shall see if this whole mess has been Garrett's fault the last bunch of years. And then the Panthers and Giants, both the Panthers swooped in and got the Giants guy, I guess. I mean, isn't that the rule? Is that who the Giants were talking up? And
That's a lot of word about them getting the Giants getting ruled because that's the only place he ever coached in the NFL, all those other things. But you know what? $60 million, that could change your mind.
That's a lot of money. They say after he got offered that deal, he called the Giants just to feel him out and whether they'd be willing to go close to that number, and they said no, no. And I don't blame the Giants. I mean, I think Rule's the best candidate out there, but 7-year contract,
$60 million.
Never coached in the NFL before.
And they had to
that's
pay
a lot of money.
They had
I mean,
to pay
that's a
between
lot of
$5
years.
and $10 million to get him out of his Baylor contract.
Right. Yeah. So that's a big time commitment. So we'll see. We'll see how. But it's this guy David Tepper who apparently has money to burn. He's buying franchises all over the place, and he's throwing all this money.
He's got no problem
Got
throwing the money
Jeez.
around. He's probably
He used to be a Jersey guy.
Is that right? Yeah.
It's So they're pretty happy with a rule, and the Giants got. I guess his name wasn't the sexiest name as we say out there, but I guess his name was thrown in the beginning. I didn't hear this guy's name mentioned till they hired him, but I was not paying. I'm a Jets fan, so I was not exactly.
He was always like in the list. They had Rule, him, McCarthy,
Judge Jojo. What's his name? his name's. I know his last name's Judge.
We'll call him Judge. They say he really impressed in the interview. They say he's got great leadership ability, but he's a Patriots assistant. And my take on that is, which of them have been successful? Willie was saying Bill O'Brien's had some success. He's gotten to the playoffs, but I feel like there've been so many disappointments. And it's almost like whatever Belichick does, he's not sharing the secret sauce with the assistants because they go elsewhere and they don't have anywhere near the success that Belichick has.
Vrabel as a player.
Well, he was a player.
Took
right.
a lot away from him apparently, and he's doing a pretty good job in Tennessee. But we'll see. I mean, he had a good pedigree. He also worked with Saban, so the Giants. You never. I mean, really. Let's see.
Yeah. Who knew who was going to be good?
Exactly.
Like, go back.
People are screaming and yelling on New York sports radio. Like, who knows? Let's just wait and see. I mean, you don't
let
know.
Them play. Yeah. Let's get a game under our belt.
You don't know if it's a good or a bad, choice.
I'll say this: I don't think it can be any worse than Shermer because Shermer was terrible. So it's probably an upgrade, and I think Dallas is an upgrade too. Because I think Garrett was bad and wouldn't win late in the year, and at least McCarthy had some playoff runs and won a Super Bowl. So
that whole
think
division,
those are
3 new coaches in that division. It's going to be
that's right.
wild.
And Rivera.
Yeah,
I mean, the
Rivera's
Redskins.
on
That's a good
so.
coach they hired. So although that's another organization that the owner I think screws things up.
Well, Rivera had a great new press conference, which doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach. And I like that he hired Jack Del Rio as the defensive coordinator.
Yes.
I always like Jack Del Rio.
Yeah.
It's going to be that division should be very interesting. And then the Patriots knocked out of the playoffs in the wild card round. It was so sweet. I can't even, like I mentioned earlier, every bar I think south of Connecticut went crazy when that came in. It was something else.
It was not with a bang, but with a whimper. They didn't even get to a big game against Kansas City that everyone was looking forward to, and Brady might. His last play as a Patriot quarterback might be that pick six. So how sweet is that
awesome.
As a Jet anti-Patriot fan? I mean, how was
Belichick in the presser right after about Brady returning? His head almost exploded. Yeah. Let's talk about the game. He was not some brave reporter out there because a lot of speculation what's going to happen with the Golden Boy. We'll see,
Yeah, it was interesting, though, how, past few years, you've had New England start off sort of iffy, 500, and this year they started off like they were the best team ever. Their defense was outscoring their other offenses, and then just sort of puttered out at the end. I think they went 4-5 in their last 9 games.
And I loved it. Was just like Henry? They just gave Henry the ball. We're running it down your throat to try to stop us, and they just did not have the personnel to do it. And Tennessee it was an awesome, awesome win. I couldn't have been happier. Made my weekend. Sorry, I'm such a Patriots hater. I can't shake it.
It's hard not to enjoy it. It is sweet in a way. It is. I mean,
Poor
I hate
Patriots fans.
Yeah. Well, you don't feel too bad for them.
All right, and away we go. We got four games this weekend and the championship Monday. It's going to be great. I can't wait. Last week was awesome, and I expect the same this week. I'm going to start off with I flipped on this game. I liked Kansas City when I first saw the matchup. Houston's going out there. You got Andy Reid coming off the bye is like a big thing that gets thrown about, how great he is, game plan, everything. But this is another situation with just like Minnesota going into New Orleans, nobody is giving Houston a chance. And I've changed my mind based on every single person saying that Kansas City's going to roll them. Houston looked terrible last week. You're getting 9.5, and I'm going to take the Texans and ride it out here because, like I said, it may even go. I don't know if it'll cross over to 10, but it's too juicy for me to pass up when everybody's talking up Kansas City.
Everyone's on Kansas City, and I my first take was Kansas City's probably going to win, but I agree. Everyone is on Kansas City, and Houston's kind of playing with house money now. There's not a lot of pressure on them. They played awful, and they got that out of their system. So hopefully,
right, yeah. But it's interesting. I sort of was thinking like you did originally that there's going to be a blowout this weekend. You feel like there's got to be one blowout game, and if I had to pick one, that would have been the one. But everything's sort of counterintuitive the other way,
We're going against the my limited public chatter with people talking up KC. I'm going against it.
And the other cool thing is with the quarterback thing. You have the past 3 years. You have Watson versus Mahomes, and then possibly one of them against Lamar Jackson next week.
Yeah,
so you have
it's great. You have
all the young guns.
It's the changing of the guard. Yeah, I mean, we didn't mention Breeze having a rough game, but Breeze and Brady, it's like Rodgers is still around, but the young guns, there are a lot of young guns in the playoffs, and especially on the AFC side.
The league is slowly turning the page here.
Okay, for my first pick, I'm just going to go with the obvious and take my Vikings.
Get the homer pick out of the way.
Pick, just get it done. I don't want to jinx them, but I mean they've had the talent all year. They've had some injuries, with I think Cook and Thielen hadn't played together since October. They have the defensive line is one of the best in the league.
I mean, they overcame an early turnover. Who turned the ball over right away?
Thielen fumbled right away.
New Orleans. So New Orleans started out couldn't have been in a better spot, and then Minnesota
and they only got the field goal. Same kind of thing.
Defense just played nasty. I mean, they had Breeze. It was.
And I saw one of these ridiculous spreadsheet type, predictions kind of things that the last three teams that fumbled on the first drive in the playoffs won the Super Bowl.
I
don't know how far they deep.
It's good.
That is digging deep. That is some
system.
deep digging. I like this pick. I do like this pick, and I think Minnesota kind of got a monkey off their back last week. Because there was still that chatter about Cousins in a big game on the road against a hostile crowd
of his
playing
career
in New
late
Orleans,
in the game.
and that last drive down the field. And now I think you get a little freedom out of that. Like, all right, I won a big game where everyone was doubting me, and sometimes the team can kind of catapult off that.
I think it's a tougher out in New Orleans than it's going to be in San Francisco. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, they got the tougher one, I feel like, out of. I mean, San Fran's a slightly better team, but New Orleans is a tough place to go in and win. If they've got to be.
And if the Vikings defense can get the pressure on Jimmy G that they got on Drew Brees, I feel pretty good about that game.
All right. For my first pick, I'm going with Seattle. They're going into Green Bay. They're getting 4 points. You have a situation here where you have two teams that have been winning but not really impressing. But I like the fact that Seattle's getting 4 points, and also they've been in a lot of close games this year, and they find a way. They find a way to win these games.
They grind out wins, or a lot of their losses have been by less than one score. They've been in almost every week this year, in every game. And
like I said, a lot of one-score games.
I feel like Green Bay could be the worst 13-3 team.
Well, it's funny.
Ever. I mean, like
I think both of them. Like that's old Bill Parcells. Your record says you are, but not really. They're not good 13-3 teams.
It is interesting though. They're the two guys, the two QBs with the most experience playoff-wise. So. We'll see if that comes into play next week. One of them's getting out of here, and we'll see how that rolls into next week. But these are probably the two least impressive teams out of the 8, I would think.
Right. And Seattle comes off 2 weeks ago playing a tough game against San Francisco where they were right there, and then another tough game, a tough win. Whereas you have Green Bay, 2 weeks ago, they struggled against the Lions. In
3
a
weeks
game
ago,
that
they struggled against Washington.
Right. So they're not going in the right way, and then having the week off. I mean, I could see them coming out a little bit dull, and Seattle coming out, strong right off the bat.
And you got to give the coaching advantage to Seattle too. So I like
absolutely.
I like the 4 here. I mean, it should.
Yeah, it's just one of those games I really didn't know which way to go, so I just like to take the points,
right.
All right, I'm taking an under here. I'm going to go Tennessee, Baltimore, under 46.5. I know Baltimore is just a scoring machine, but I got to trust Tennessee's coaching to the only real chance they have, and they have the guy to do it, is to keep their offense on the field, keep Baltimore's offense off the field, and just have Henry run the ball and run that clock. It's a pretty big 46.5, and like I said, Tennessee, their game plan. I mean, I'll be shocked if it's anything but trying to slow the game down to a crawl and keep that high-powered offense off the field. So I do like this under. It's not the most exciting thing to root for, but give me the under in this game.
Yeah, I see Tennessee really wanting to run the ball a lot and not give Baltimore a lot of possession. Yeah. So I like
the under on that one. As a matter of fact, I like the under so much that I'm going to take Tennessee in that game, getting 9.5 points.
I love it.
Because I think Baltimore's definitely, clearly been the best team all year, except for losing the game to Cleveland. But
you're getting the best team playing the hottest team.
Yeah.
This game, I mean, it's exciting because Tennessee, you got to argue, is probably the hot.
Yeah, Tennessee only has one loss since I think they're 8-1 now.
Yeah, finishing down the stretch here, and so you don't want to. I mean, Doesn't matter how good you are. When you face a hot hand like this, it's things happen, and it's a lot of points.
It's 9.5 just too many points for how well Tennessee's been playing. And like you said, if you get a low scoring game, 9.5 is a big percentage of the points.
I was discussing this last night. Somebody did have a good point. It's almost like either take parlay Baltimore and the over or Tennessee and the under, because that's basically it depends on how the game plays out. But I would think one of those two scenarios, if Baltimore covers that 10, it's probably going over, and vice versa. But I do like Tennessee here. It's 9.5. Just come on.
All right. For my second pick, I'm going to pick the college game. You probably know who I'm going to like here. I like Clemson. I've been a big Clemson.
All the dogs. I
know, right? A lot of dogs, but I liked them, 2 weeks ago, and I kind of like that they're getting more points than you thought they would get, and that's solely due to the fact that LSU blew out Oklahoma, but Oklahoma just doesn't belong with those other three teams. I feel like those other three teams were much better. Oklahoma really didn't show up in that game, and LSU just played like a lights-out game, and I like getting 5.5 points. I think that's too many points. And again, I know, I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but the Clemson coach uses that, and he uses that. He says, oh, we only got the 3 seed. Oh, we're an underdog. We're undefeated. We're the national champ. And he just really kind of uses that to get his players motivated, and they play inspired football. And I like that Ohio State played well early in that game, but they hung in there, Clemson. They held in the field goals, and they found a way. And I could see a similar scenario against LSU. So I'd say take Clemson and take the points.
I believe last year was a similar situation where Clemson was getting points against a hot offense, and Clemson just shut it down.
Clemson's defensive line last year was I think all first round picks.
Yeah, it was they were a little more daunting. But I initially, like everybody, when you watch the LSU game, you're just like, who's beating these guys? But then you think about it over a couple of weeks, and you get cooler head prevailed here. I flipped on this game. I was initially probably like the whole country, like they looked so incredible, like a pro offense out there. But again, it was against a mediocre team at best. So I do like this. 5.5 is a lot.
It's a lot, and I'd say sprinkle something on the money line, because if it is a close game, you could see Clemson figuring out a way to win, because LSU has not been in a lot of close games this year. They've been blowing teams out, whereas Clemson coming off that a good, tough win against Ohio State and having 2 weeks off, if it's close, I could see them pulling out a win.
You're not going to take blowing teams out as a negative too much, though.
No, but I do think you see this sometimes with a team that's in closer games against a team that's blowing teams out. You know, like it's
there's a playoff of NFL playoff stat somewhere. I can't remember exactly, that teams that blow somebody out by more than, say, 25 points lose the next week.
Right. Absolutely, yeah.
I'm going to throw a bonus in here too. I would throw some money on the under in this game. 69 is a big number, and I think they're going to play it a little more close to the vest here. And I'll take the under in the Monday night showdown. It should be this should be an awesome. I think this could be a classic, this one. It looks like a great...
There are two fun teams to watch. I'm excited for this game.
Two exciting quarterbacks. It's going to be something else. All right, since we took all the dogs, I got to throw in a little parlay here. Money line underdog parlay. Give me Seattle and Clemson. We love, and then we're going to throw a little Lesko magic. We're throwing Minnesota in to really juice this one. And when these three come in Monday night, you can celebrate. It's going to pay a nice 26-1. Get involved.
That's sweet.
Covers the year.
Takes care of a lot. Cleans up a lot of slop. All right, Clegg's Corner coming in triumphantly after dabbling in the 2-0 in the Spanish League. Why are we messing around with Premier? Why don't we just bet Spanish every week?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the only picking 2 games or it's only picking the Spanish League, but one of those seem to, or both of them seem to work. But I was going to say we should only pick the Spanish League from now on, but they're not playing this weekend.
Oh, come on. As soon as you win a couple games, what do they got? Is it some break?
They have a knockout tournament called the Copa del Rey.
What's the Copa del Rey?
It's the King's Cup.
That's
the translation.
Yeah.
So that's like the FA Cup in England, or the Coppa d'Italia, and in Italy. They all have like a knockout tournament like that, and this weekend is when the one starts in Spain. So
we can gamble on these games.
You can, but like I was saying to Richard before the recording, it's tricky because the teams are not going to play their strongest 11 necessarily. Some of like the best teams might, but they also, if they get matched up against a really terrible team, they might play a bunch of the kids. It's just really hard to predict the outcomes of these cup games.
Is it easy to predict the outcome of any of these soccer matches? I don't know.
My record would say no, it's not easy. No. But I would say it's even more difficult. How's that to do the cups? So.
All right, good. Well, we're going back to 3 plays this week. I like that. So
we're going back to 3 plays.
Right,
we're going back to the English Premier League too, which I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Come on, give us a little something. I'm more confident here.
Yeah.
We're not telling people to plunk their money down. I mean,
all right, we're going to start Saturday, 10 a.m. Everton. They have a new manager, Carlo Ancelotti. They've been playing even better with Carlo Ancelotti. And they're minus 118, which is a pretty good price for a home team playing against Brighton and Hove Albion. And
Brighton and Hove Albion. I love that.
Yeah, you just like saying that, right? Yes. So I like Everton in this spot. We're going to go with the home team, small favorite there. Then we're going to go back to our theory, which is suspect at this point for sure, although it worked for us last week.
I have a feeling this is going to be a draw. We're going to pick a draw.
Exactly.
All right, it worked last week.
Lower
in
tier
Spain.
Premier League draw.
Yep. So we're going to go with Bournemouth hosting Watford. And Watford had a terrible start to the year. They've been playing a little better. They're scoring more goals. And I could see this being a 1-1, 2-2 kind of situation. So we're going for the draw, plus 240.
Oh, plus 240. Nice. Love it.
And then we're going to go to the Italian League. So Juventus is playing away at Roma, and Juventus is having another great year. Cristiano Ronaldo playing great again.
They never lose, right?
They don't never lose, but I mean,
I don't know if that was good English. You don't want your Columbia professors to hear you say that sentence.
So they're playing away at Roma, and Roma is a good team, not a great team. So Juventus is plus 118 on the road here.
Oh, I love it.
So I like it. We're gonna roll with Juventus.
A good team with a positive number.
Yep.
So we got to throw these in a parlay, right? I mean, that's a standard.
That's your standard action.
Exactly.
Yes. So if you want to throw all 3 of these in a parlay, it's going to be 13-1.
Oh, beautiful! I love it. You're getting 2 great teams and a draw. It's easy money. I'd say.
I see it. Do a 6 parlay that and the other 3 underdog parlay.
Yeah,
right?
maybe a 6. Maybe throw this in with the money line underdog parlay.
What about the super parlay too?
We're overdue.
We are.
Yeah,
overdue.
let's just put it all together. I don't know.
I mean,
1,000 to 1.
parlays should be easier to hit than this. I don't understand.
Throw $5 on each one. Take 20.
You want to talk to the math whisperer about that?
Well, I was told there'd be no math.
Quick recap so you can jot down this week's winners. I'm taking Houston plus 9.5 out of Kansas City and the under in the Baltimore-Tennessee game, 46.5. Bill Lesko, his Vikings plus 7. I'm assuming there will be some on the money line as well for him.
A little bit of money line action, yes.
I like that play. What the heck? In for a penny, in for a pound. And Tennessee getting juicy 9.5 at Baltimore. Richard's taking Seattle plus 4 at Green Bay, and in the big game Monday night, Clemson plus 5.5 over LSU. We got a bonus play this week. I'm saying under 69 Monday night, and it should be. These should be some great games. We're taking all the road. Are these all road dogs?
Oh, yes, I think
road
so. Dogs had a pretty good year, but last time we did something like this, I think we picked all the worst teams in the league and did not do so well.
It backfired a little. Yeah. I'm nervous about. We might not sweep the card this week, but it'd be shocking. But I do like. I just can't pass up all these points in the playoffs. I'm sorry. There's no way around it. The moneyline underdog parlay: Seattle, Clemson, and Minnesota pays a juicy 26-1. Clegg's Corner, we have Everton minus 118 at home to beat Brighton and Hove Albion. We have a draw in the Watford-Bournemouth match. And then Juventus away at Roma to win. That's plus 18. The draw was plus 240. Sorry. Juventus plus 118. And I like to throw these in a parlay. Clegg went 2-0 last week, so hopefully he continues with the hot hand. That pays a nice 13-1. All right, we threw all 6 plays into the big parlay like we do every week. That pays a juicy 48-1. We're overdue. Come on, let's get some of our money back here. It's I know they're tough to hit, but you know we it's only 6 teams.
It's only 6 teams.
Yeah.
This one seems doable,
It
right?
seems attainable.
I think so.
Double your money. Double your bet on
That's
this
right.
one.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Anything you guys want to plug this week?
I got a couple things. One, there's a new deli in town, Pastrami House. Had a little sandwich there today.
Oh, delicious.
Town's got a million great Italian delis, but it's nice to have a little pastrami and corned beef out there.
It's about time.
It's
We've been talking about that for years.
Lacking a Jewish deli in Hoboken for a real long
That's
time,
great.
and people are flocking there. And hopefully the product tastes pretty good so far. Hopefully they keep up the they keep up the quality, because I think that should do great. So good.
And then there's just one other thing I want to say is that I'm going to sleep better this year knowing I'm not going to see New England in the Super Bowl or Alabama in the national championship game.
It is.
Excellent.
That's been a long
That's
time.
great.
I
That's
wonder
a
what
good
those
point, yeah.
coaches do. They've never make plans this weekend.
They're
Saban and
both
Belichick.
I want to see them both in Cabo together.
They might be on the phone commiserating, just steaming. I wonder if they even are they sore losers? You think they're the kind of guys that tune into these games?
I don't think it's going to be a fun family vacation.
No, it's not. It was something to watch these guys to go. I can't. Belichick just looked so aggravated. It was great. And I'm just gonna plug the football this weekend. You're not gonna go wrong. There's gonna be at least what do we have? 5 games, including the national championship. Guaranteed three great. 3 of them are gonna be great. Maybe all 5. Tune in, get involved. It should be a good weekend. I want to thank my guests, my brother, Richard, the Math Whisperer, Salvatore.
Thanks. Looking forward. Great weekend of football. Looking forward to it.
As in bon vivant fashion, Bill Lesko will be down in Atlantic City.
You're checking out the Bally's book. It's supposed to be a nice one.
Take it down this week. You get some money off the tables. Throw some money on the games.
And what makes it even nicer is with Philly out, I don't have to deal with all those Philly fans running around Atlantic City. So it's a little nicer time.
Right.
There'll be no Patriots fans sprinkled around. It should be a good time down there. Good luck. Not that you need it. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe. We're on Apple, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe at our website, picksfromtheyard.com. Visit the website for all of our archived and bonus episodes and more content. For comments, criticisms, and challenges to Wayne, email us at pftypod@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're at PFTYPod on social media. Remember, gambling on sports is entertainment. Please don't overdo it. If you or someone you know is in over their head, call 800-GAMBLER for help. The Picks from the Yard podcast is produced by Van Voors Films in Hoboken, New Jersey. Our music is Anticipation by the Gefkins. Check them out on Spotify. We'll be back next week. Get involved.